Welcome back, Can Action Satchel viewers. In today's video, let's just get to the chase. I just lost 2 crab traps in this one stupid spot. I'm right next to the little porta potty thing, but I just lost not 1 but 2, and 2 different types too. The foldable ones, well, they're both folding, but the square ones and the circular ones. So that makes me want to now do a video on how to actually get your crab traps unstuck. Mind you, these tactics did not work in this case scenario, but I would have lost, I'd say, 20 more. So I feel the need to just give you guys who have probably lost crab traps too the different methods. Actually, one might not be lost right here, because that's someone might be able to get it back for me, which would be really nice. But yeah, since I'm leaving, it's probably gone. So this video is actually not going to be filmed mostly outdoors. It's going to be filmed mostly probably indoors, and I'll give you a demonstration of the rocks, how the rocks work, and what you can do to actually save your crab traps that you probably just dumped a whole lot of money into from being lost to the ocean or bay. Alright, let's cut over. And right here is the batter of the 2 crab traps back, thanks to those boaters. So that's one tactic that I'm going to talk to you guys about. Oh, look, little crabs. Yeah, you can use boaters, and I'll explain more, but yeah, so pretty pleased about that. There, that shows you my tactic works right there. So continue watching. Okay, so for this demonstration, you are the person, you're right up here, and all of that is water down there. So you throw out your crab trap, and I'm using this rope, and this is your crab trap right here, and this rope is your line. Because most people who are crabbing from shore are using fishing line. So you throw it out. Let me get a better throw. You throw it out, way out there, and then you're waiting for the crab, so you say, fast forward, say, I don't know, 15 minutes until you want to pull it in. What'll happen is it could get past here, and as you're pulling it in, reeling it in, it'll get snagged right about there, and it'll feel like, oh, I can't move it at all anymore. So what'll happen is, if you look right here, is it'll be a lot of times hung up in between a rock or like that. It'll be snagged inside some sort of little thing, and the barnacles are what really hurts it the most, because it'll get caught up in the barnacles, which will also destroy it. So rather than just pulling, which is how you dent a trap, like I have one of mine currently dented, and the wire is just out of place and everything, so basically destroyed. What you can do, number 1, first thing to try, stop pulling on it, give it some slack line. A lot of times that'll let it fall, and then once it falls, you can then pull it up again more easily. Yeah, another thing to do, try from multiple different directions. Instead of just pulling from where you are, give it slack again, but then pull in from another direction to your left or right. That way, sometimes it'll come free. If it's really not working, one thing that you can do is call one of the boaters over, because most of the time there'll be boaters around. You just try and look for one in a small craft, like a kayak or a raft. They'll, a lot of times, what you'll do is you'll give them extra slack, and they'll be able to take it out, like, I don't know, 15 feet from shore, and then pull straight up. That will free it almost all of the time. So that's how you can save your crab trap for the majority of the time, depending on which type of crab trap. If you're using the foldable ones, those are the ones that most easily to snag off. One huge thing that I lost quite a few crab traps to was your line weight. Yeah. Make sure you're using at least 40 or 50 pound braid. If not, you're going to be snagging off a lot, and I mean a lot. So make sure you've got very, very heavy line. You don't want to lose them. Also, if you have seaweed on it, be really careful, because the seaweed adds so much weight that I've snapped rods before. And it'll get snagged just like this. So once again, the first thing, before you start pulling really tight, because the tighter you pull it, you'll end up snagging it and getting it caught in it more. But the first thing you're going to need to do is just give it a lot of slack. Oh, another thing, you can either wait till low tide to go back and get it again, depending on how long that'll be for you and how long you're going to be out there crabbing for. So you can wait for low tide and then be able to go down, or at least only have to go in the water a couple feet rather than like your entire body. And then another thing that you can do is that has worked is you can wait for a giant boat to come by. Don't ask them to come close to shore, but if you see like a giant boat that comes by, what they'll do is their wakes will be so big that they'll create waves that will sometimes, if it's sitting right there and really stuck, the waves will just knock it against it and it'll become free again. I've gained it that way too. A lot of ways to get your crab traps back. So you don't want to lose them because they're not cheap. Another thing is, legally, if you have your crab pots, like the big pots, you have to put your name and phone number on the buoy. That way, even if you aren't able to get it, someone else might be able to, and then you can get it back. So that's one thing to know. Also, try not to once you throw it out, let enough line out so that you can let the bail, so that it can go down straight to the bottom, but don't leave a whole lot of slack line, because that slack line can sometimes go into these nooks and crannies where your trap isn't even, but then you'll have to pull it out, and that slack line will have caused you a snag. Another thing is check how, if your line is beat up, because after, I don't know, every 20 or so casts, check and see if it's still, obviously with this rope, you don't really need to because it's rope, but it's meant to be taking the place of fishing line. So check your line, see if it's super damaged or anything, because if not, you're going to need to replace it because it will snap. You don't want to snap. No one wants to lose a crab trap after the day of crabbing. That's no fun. Which I did lose one of the other crab traps and got one back. The way you saw me get one back in that clip, on a 20-second clip that will have been played for you before, I had a boater, go and pull it straight up. That's the most effective way. But most of the time a lot of times they won't know exactly how to do it, so you have to remember, have them take it out, open your bail, let them take enough line out, then pull straight up. And then you reel it back in super quickly. Another super important thing to remember, do not let there be any gap in when you reel it in. I know these crab traps are heavy, but you have to reel it in quickly without stopping, because if you stop, what'll happen is you'll have it from out here, and then you'll reel in, it'll be okay, but then if you stop, it's gonna be a lot harder for you to get out. So that's another thing to note. So make sure you reel in without stopping. I've lost crab traps that way too, especially in the more rocky the area, the more you need to reel in without stopping, because one stop will let it get completely snagged and you're never seeing that trap again. So I hope you've learned something. I hope you don't lose any crab traps. It's never fun to lose crab traps, because a lot of times that can be the end of your time. I've helped quite a few people get their crab traps back, and I hope that this helps you if you've just lost yours, or so that you don't lose yours. So with that being said, thank you for watching this hand axe and satchel video. Go check out my others, like the crab scented one, that will probably be right here, or my whole crabbing playlist that is probably still up here in the corner right there. And you can join my membership if that is available yet. Help me get to 4,000 hours of watch time. Very helpful, because I already have behind the scenes content. So with that, thank you so much for watching this hand axe and satchel production. Have a great day. Hand axe and satchel signing off.